So it seems like things continue to get bad for Ubisoft, where apparently now a Ubisoft shareholder is exposing the company and claims that the company has failed to disclose their meetings with EA and Microsoft about IP acquisition. Everybody knows that Ubisoft is struggling right now, and with or without Assassin's Creed Shadows being successful or not, it doesn't matter. Ubisoft has gone too far to the point where now their stock has been downgraded again to the sell category. And then on top of that, they are hiding from their shareholders the amount of meetings that they are having with other companies to sell off either their IPs or the company as a whole. Ubisoft is absolutely cooked, ladies and gentlemen. And I think it's fair to say at this point that I don't think the company is going to want to sell off just one or two IPs, especially since most of their IPs that would even be remotely interesting for some of these other studios and companies to acquire are going to require for Ubisoft to lose their identity. I cannot imagine a world where Ubisoft is going to sell off Assassin's Creed and then continue on as a business without it. I just can't see why that would happen, considering that Assassin's Creed is part of Ubisoft's identity, right? There are some video games like the Far Cry series that are just part of Ubisoft's identity. I can't imagine that they will be willing to do that. So let's get into this article, guys, from Insider Gaming. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Ubisoft shareholder claims that the company failed to disclose meetings with EA and Microsoft about IP acquisition. And you know what's wild, man? Microsoft has been buying up shit left and right. And if anybody's going to buy up an IP and not necessarily a company, maybe they'll buy up, one or two studios, something like that. It's going to be Microsoft. They've done it before. EA also has done it before. A Ubisoft shareholder is planning a protest outside the company's Paris offices after it claims that the studio failed to disclose meetings regarding a potential acquisition. And you know what? I've been saying since day one that I don't understand how these investors that are investing in Ubisoft or companies like Ubisoft are not asking more questions. I feel like now it's too late, obviously, because number one, they lost a lot of value in their stock, so there goes their investment. And number two, overall, as a company, I feel like it was obvious to everybody that Ubisoft was doing dumb stuff. But unfortunately, a lot of these investors are just looking to invest, and they're not necessarily caring too much about the corporate culture, the culture as a whole in gaming. They don't really care. They're just, money in, money out kind of a thing. But unfortunately, when it comes to gaming, there is an element of culture that has to be adhered to if you're going to fully understand what you are investing in. Ubisoft, since I've been reporting on them for I don't even know how long now, every single investors call that they have ever done, they have lied to the investors. That's what I've seen anyway. I don't know about you guys, but when I've listened to the investors calls and I've seen the way that, Yves Guillemot, the CEO, responds to the questions from the investors, you can clearly see that this man is giving PR speak, that he is lying through his teeth, that every time he talked about a video game over the last year alone, when he talked about Star Wars Outlaws, when he talked about Assassin's Creed Shadows, when he talked about Skull and Bones, when we talk about X Defiant, all of these video games, they have lied to their investors and said, hey, yeah, aside from X Defiant, because that was free to play, but they said, yeah, Star Wars Outlaws, amazing pre-orders. We're looking really good. We're on track to where we want to be. Failure. Skull and Bones, yeah, amazing pre-orders. We are on track for where we want to be. Massive failure. Assassin's Creed Shadows, same exact story. We are on track with Odyssey numbers, and we're going to be perfectly fine. Chances are that's not true. Now, again, Assassin's Creed is probably going to be the most successful out of all the video games that have failed for them recently, but it's too late. That's the moral of the story. It is way too late, and Assassin's Creed is, whether or not it's successful or not, Ubisoft is cooked as a company. But the first reported by IGN, AJ Investments, a firm with less than 1% stake in Ubisoft, says that the studio is horribly mismanaged by current management, which I can obviously agree with, because you could see that pretty easily in how they're handling things, especially Assassin's Creed Shadows. I mean, look at the nonsense that's happening with that game. In addition, the firm's CEO, Jiraj Krupa, says that the company failed to disclose reported meetings with EA and Microsoft, among other interested parties, regarding potential acquisition of Ubisoft IPs. Krupa says that the company didn't appropriately communicate its plans or talk with shareholders. Because of that, he is calling those who are frustrated with the prolonged stagnation in Ubisoft stock performance and the lack of decisive action from the management team to join them in protest in May. Krupa added that AJ Investments is ready to sue Ubisoft for misleading investors, which that should have happened a long time ago. That should have happened a long time ago. They are literally lying to investors every single day, right? This is a publicly traded company. They are lying to investors on every single investor's call. And they're not the only ones that do it. I want to be very clear. Like, I'm not just saying Ubisoft solely is the only one that does this. That's obviously not true. I feel like almost every company does this at this point when they're publicly traded. But they are being especially egregious because they have had not one failure, not two, not three, but potentially about to be 4 failures within just the time of a year and a half. That is insane. At some point, you have to admit that, hey, I think you're lying to me, you know? He did add, however, that they are aware of Ubisoft management having a financial review of various strategic options that is being advised by Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. In a statement given to IGN, Ubisoft restated its past messaging that reviews of strategic and capitalistic options is ongoing at the company. The board has established an ad hoc independent committee to oversee this formal and competitive process so as to extract the best value from Ubisoft's assets and franchises for all stakeholders, the company said. Ubisoft will inform the market in accordance with applicable regulations if and once a transaction materializes. So again, guys, this entire thing is pretty much been called out since damn near over a year ago, where we have been saying that there is no way that Ubisoft is going to be able to continue the way that they are. It's not like this company is super rich, okay? Their stock is worth damn near almost nothing, both in the United States and abroad. Their stock is getting crumbling to the point where now it is marked as a sell category stock. Not only that, their shareholders are finally waking up. Their investors are finally waking up and realizing that they've been bamboozled. On top of that, they have had 3 failures in the last year, one of which was one of the biggest reportedly failures in gaming history. Everybody always talks about Concord being the biggest failure, but the funny thing is Skull and Bones reportedly cost them $600 to $800 million over 10 years of development. It was supposed to be their first ever Quad A game. We're not talking about AAA. We're talking about Quad A. And if AAA games cost anywhere from, $150 to $300 million on average, then you got to imagine that Skull and Bones definitely could hit the $600 million mark, especially over the course of 10 years of development and hundreds of developers. So I think it's very safe to say that Ubisoft lost way too much money. They fucked around and they found out way too much. And at this point, again, I can't see a world where Ubisoft sells off their IPs and functions as a company that doesn't have Assassin's Creed anymore, or doesn't have Watch Dogs anymore, or doesn't have Far Cry anymore. I can't see a world that they do that, especially with Assassin's Creed. I can see them maybe selling off, Watch Dogs, but I can't imagine Assassin's Creed. But again, ladies and gentlemen, Ubisoft is 100% cooked, unfortunately, and we're at the point now where we said so many times that this is the year that we're most likely going to hear an announcement of a Ubisoft sale, whether it's IPs or whether it's a company in general. This is the year, and it doesn't matter whether or not Assassin's Creed Shadow succeeds or not. I feel like the only thing that's going to decide is whether or not Ubisoft decides to keep Assassin's Creed or sell the company as a whole. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.